Can I just keep beating a dead horse?
Sure.
We're good at it.
A 25, 30 goal scorer.
Well, they added $2 of them technically. Like, I think that's the problem, is that it might be the way this team has to play saps guys' offense. I don't think that's a crazy assertion at all.
Well, yeah.
Joel Farabee had 22 last year. He's been very, very pedestrian. Morgan Frost is a guy with incredible high pedigree that you think, at points in his career was going to be a goal scorer that, has done that at times. He's hardly been on the score sheet despite looking like he could win a skills competition.
Do you think that it's the system, or
I think the system's a big part of it.
Because I'm having the same conversation.
I don't have a problem with the system. It's the only way they can win.
They have a combined 5 goals between the two.
And so
for Frost
that was the trade. They went out and they did give up some futures to go get some
simplifying.
offense.
I get it. They did do that, so they couldn't.
So they were trying to address the offensive shortcomings.
Okay, God, it's like you don't talk to me like I'm a fucking 2-year-old. You've enough today.
I'm not trying to be on you. I'm sorry,
though.
So
it's the demeaning tone you have.
I don't mean to have that tone. I apologize.
So again, I'm an idiot because I think if they can get to 4 goals,
but
we might win some fucking games and be a lock for the playoffs.
I agree with that. My point would be, we haven't, aside from Buffalo trading Cousins,
you only go to one thing. It's like you're so stubborn to think that you couldn't phone around the league and Conrad's can't talk to guys. Just because it didn't happen doesn't mean that it couldn't have been approached and you couldn't have found a way.
I think they did. I absolutely think they looked.
They evaluated and didn't want to. My point is, why didn't they? And are they going to rue the day where if they get to 4, and how many times have we said it? If you add a 30-goal scorer to this squad, well, the system eliminates. Well, then this is what we have to play.
It's year 1 of a rebuild. I think they're 8 days of jet fuel. I don't think you pay the prices you had to pay to go get that guy. That's sort of what I think they looked at. They would have looked at that.
That's fine. But you can still say that and still say, yeah, you're right, Rhett.
I did say you're right. They need that 4th goal. They haven't been able to do it this year. I think that is the biggest shortcoming of the team, clearly, is that they're 3rd from the bottom in goals in this league.
Yeah, well,
but because that's true doesn't mean it's easy to go at offense.
Nobody said it was easy, but you have $20 million worth of fucking cap space. And you're not going to make the playoffs possibly because you can't score enough. It's a fair question to ask. Should they have tried harder? Whether we don't know what the price is. No, you're saying it's too high. Do you know?
I just looked at what moved to the deadline and it went for considerably higher what it went for.
Okay. When did we say we couldn't score?
November, probably.
So we couldn't have made a trade then? No, not paid the.
You could have, I suppose. I think
there's all kinds of things, and I'm not. It just frustrates me to say, well, they couldn't and they shouldn't, and no. You're points away from a playoffs. You can't score enough goals, and if you had scored the goals, you would be in a playoff spot.
So would you be willing to part with a first rounder to go get a theoretical 30-goal guy?
Sure.
That's where I'm just like, you've
got 2 first-round picks
into a rebuild. That's really it. When you look,
it depends on the guy.
And I mean, and we're exaggerating there too, right? Because remember, and I forgot all about him until you had Anthony Mantha as a free agent.
Yeah,
you thought this could be a 20-goal guy if he's getting power play time and this sort of thing. He gets injured, he doesn't get replaced. The Frost and Farabee thing doesn't happen till well down the road, and
I think that's a long-term trade.
Like 30-goal guys aren't everywhere. What if it's 20-goal guy? What if a guy had 16, 17?
22? Like, that's what they tried.
But I mean, in addition to earlier in the season, was there an opportunity? I think there was. I have to believe that it wouldn't have cost you at first. There would have been an opportunity, but does it make a difference? I don't know. This team, they are who they are.
They play such low event hockey. Like they
have no choice. They have no skill.
Right. And so how much more skill do they need to add before they can start opening it up a little? I don't think they're one guy away. I really don't. Well, they still need their goalie to be their best player.
But you know what? Here's the thing too. Sharon Govich, huge slump. Farabee is better than this.
That's a great point. You bring up Sharon Govich because those should be the goals.
Yeah.
How many has he got?
He got 14. He's got his 14th last night. And it goes to show you, he's at 14. That's a pretty good year. It's not a good year.
No.
He's capable of so much more.
But even Coleman had 30 last year. Again, you're not counting on it. But
you could never put him out for 30. That was career high shooting stuff. But you'd hope you'd get 23, 24, right?
You didn't get offense out of Zary because he was injured.
Backlund?
He never gets over 50.
He's got 12. He got his 12th last night. I don't think you were counting on Pospisil for goals, but he has 4, I think, on the year.
4 is not enough.
Coronado, great. That helped, but there's some goals within that just weren't there.
And you've had some, like, the thing is, it's not just everyone slumping. Like, Naz is having a really good year. Jonathan Huberdeau might set a career high. Matt Coronado is looking like you could put him down for 30 next year, the way he's
but that
improving.
doesn't help us this year.
But my point is like, amid the shortfalls, there's also guys that have been over their skis a bit.
In there too is Richard on the text. Don't forget about Kuzmenko. Like, he couldn't piss. He was.
Yeah, you were relying on him to drive the bus as far as the power play.
Did they quit at the wrong time? Was it not a fit with the way Huska coached? I don't know the answer.
It was time to move, but from October, from October until they gave him opportunity.
Totally. And so again, it sort of comes back to me where it's like, look what the Kings did at the deadline. They only had to give up a third, and they've got this offensive dynamo. And that's kind of what he's been the last 3 weeks there. That same guy couldn't piss a drop here. So you can't just say go add a guy, because the guy has to fit into the way this team plays hockey. And it's really hard, and there's a lot of structure, and you don't really get to take a lot of chances offensively because you're so worried about giving something up the other way. Because Michael's been, look at his last 10 games of the Kings.
Do you think that's what it is?
I think that's a big piece of it.
So no, I'm not trying to feed you. Is the message from the coaching staff not to take chances?
Never.
No, I don't think it's that.
I just think this is a group devoid of high-end talent.
So when you watch them when they get to a third goal, how do they look in the neutral zone? It's like Trap City, protect the lead
team.
Well, I mean,
if you were coaching this team, you would too, because of their makeup.
Exactly. And so what I'm saying is Kuzmenko looked like a guy that couldn't piss a drop here. Maybe that was all on Kuzmenko, but maybe part of that was the way they're asked to play here does not allow guys to, chase career highs and goals unless they're on a heater, like you saw with Coleman last year, with the highest shooting percentage of his career, or Coleman or I guess Huberdeau just changes the way he's played.
I don't know if I agree.
I don't.
So you think that?
I don't think they're being instructed.
I don't think
to play or the way they are being told to play.
You don't think they're trying to play low event
offensively hockey? Smothering. They have you think they can play? They can if they want to.
Oh, you could trade chances, sure. It's just they won't let you give up the chance to come back the other way.
They're not good enough.
I agree with that.
They're not good enough to generate chances, regardless if you want to play fire wagon or not.
I think they're playing this way because this is the only way they can win. But there's certainly, you could be more aggressive offensively, but it's going to cost you the other way. I'm not saying they should do it.
I think this is the
way they have to play.
All those things are all right. I just don't think that around the league, I've said it for my whole life, there's only so many systems and ways to play the game. Like, nobody's up 3-1 and just freewheeling it. Like,
fair.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're up 3-1, every coach is like, "Okay, stop taking chances.
Yeah.
Don't pinch." Right? Like, it's not.
It's just frustrating because when you see that Edmonton game and some other games like it, even last night, it's just they really try to tuck it in aggressively late. Like, it is dump it, get off. I don't care if you're on an odd man rush, wrote 30 seconds, flip it. Like, I'm exaggerating to make a point, but they're incredibly conservative in a league where you can't really hang on to a 1-2 goal lead like you could, in Rhett's era where there was such a lower scoring league.
So are you criticizing it?
No, because I think it's the only way they can win.
Because I think if we put our coaches' hats on, we're doing it the same way.
No, it's not a criticism
You're
at all.
78 games into a season where 3 is your tipping point. We got 3. Boys, we better fucking protect now.
Yeah, totally. So the reason I'm talking about this, because I see online a lot, like Huska this, Huska that, people not liking it. I'm like, what planet are we living on that a team everyone expected to be in the bottom 10 with a projected point total of like 80 in most sports books has vastly exceeded that total and has, yes, had some great goaltending, but in what world is the coach taking bullets on, like, and I see it all the time.
Yeah, but you pay attention to it and give it credence. I wouldn't even acknowledge it. Who cares if some jackass is running his mouth on social media saying Huska sucks?
There's this notion that these people have that like Huska is smothering a lot of things. And my point to them is the point we've all arrived on here, which is with this group of players, this is the only way you can play and win games. And so when they're screaming for Zane Parekh to come in, it's like, do you think Ryan Huska wants to put a player out there that has not practiced with this team in a do or die game? Because, oh yeah, look at all the offense. He's going to come in and help. And it kind of ties into your point, like just to go get a 20 goal guy, he might not be a 20 goal guy on this team. It might be when Zach Hyman plays with McDavid and Draisaitl healthy,
But I also
he's a
don't
point and a
think-
half per game. And when they're not in the
I agree
lineup,
with
there's
you.
nothing there.
I think Huska's doing a hell of a job. I think Wolf has done a hell of a job. And Huska, I don't think Huska would coach a team a different way if he had the
More skill?
Kings lineup.
Maybe. We'll learn that about him as this changes.
Like again, I go back. This is my own opinion. Is that there's a few different changes, but you're not reining in guys. You want them to play a certain style. This is the other side of it is Huska's not teaching Jacques Lemaire. Don't you dare? Like we played. I remember my first shift at training camp with the Florida Panthers. Roger Nielsen, zero talent on the team. It was training camp. First shift, Mellenby dumps the puck in and starts yelling, "Trap." And I'm going, what?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? And then I realized this is the greatest game ever. I don't have to do nothing.
Yeah.
Flip it up the wall.
Yeah.
And so my point is that system doesn't work anymore. They implemented a whole bunch of rules so you can't play that way. And so I don't think Huska's in the room preaching, don't take chances, dump it in. We're 1-2-2, 1-2-2. Don't ever, I don't believe that. They don't play that way. That's Pronger. Who was it? We talked about it the other day.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Guy Boucher.
Yeah.
That's low event hockey.
Yeah.
If you want to play low event hockey, you don't forecheck ever.
I'd say they're a top 5 low event team in the league.
But I think
it's probably, again, it's chicken egg. It's out of necessity.
Let's go through their players.
Skill above anything else.
Who is playing high skill? Backlund?
Nope. Nope. That's an all structure.
Frost is, I think he's skilled.
I worry about Frost a bit. I don't know what.
Okay. Anyway, Sharon Govich should be more skilled. We're all a little confused as to what he is. Last year was this is great. What a trade.
I don't see an offensive dynamic team if they're playing differently. I'm not suggesting that.
Coleman, he can't play offensive
structure.
Run and gun. Kevin Rooney, no chance. Even the D can't do it. Jake Bean's not keeping up. Coronado, yes. Klapka, I don't know. He shouldn't be on the first line. He's a fourth line energy guy. It's nice to envision him going that high, but I don't think it'll happen. Lomberg, no. Pospisil?
That's the thing. Even if you were behind the bench saying, boys, let's freewheel, let's go. There's a team out there defending against them.
Yeah, it's not going to work for them. They're just going to get caught up ice more and get scored on more. That's
but take away the giving up. Take away your own end. I don't see skill there.
I agree.
Like I said, there's another team that's going to defend against you that's in the National Hockey League. You don't have the skill to be much more of a high event team than you are.
I agree.
Regardless of what the coach is telling you.
There's 5 guys that can give you offense consistently. It's like Kadri, Huberdeau, Coronado, and then Uyghur on the back end, and is Zeri healthy? That's kind of the crew.
And they aren't high end when you speak to the rest of the league. That's part of the problem. We've always, and
everyone's slotted too high here.
I say it every training camp because we're all giddy about our prospects, and it's yeah, but how do they compare to the rest of the league? If they look great here, okay, that's one thing. You have to play against the rest of the league.
And so this is kind of why I'm you saying go out and score mid-season. I'm you can't be giving up let me finish. You can't be giving up any considerable futures here because you're still so far away, even if you had a guy that had 35 this year.
The argument against it, and we've had it a gajillion times, is that you don't know what you're getting in the draft either. So if I know that I'm getting a 30-goal guy and I have to get up a first rounder to get him, then maybe I'm just fine with that. You can argue both sides. I understand your take, and they're both valid, but the frustrating part, and I think it is a fair question to ask, is should they have done it because they are this close? And what's held them back? I don't think it's their D play. It's the fact that they can't score enough. If they had more scoring, my belief is they would be in a playoff position.
And then obviously the follow-up is if they sneak in as wild card 2, are we talking about team with a chance or are we talking about the jet fuel thing? Because I think they're getting rolled.
I think they're getting rolled regardless.
And
but
so maybe when Conroy measures the price,
who thought was getting rolled? The Florida Panthers when they played the Boston Bruins. There are plenty of.
I mean, they won the President's Trophy the year before, but
I'm talking about my team. My team.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant 2 years ago when they.
No, 95. We weren't going to beat Mario and the Penguins, and you can. Right. So it's the same old, just get in and find out. Do I think it would happen? No, I don't.
You're right, though.
But-
I always say it. You get a ticket to the dance, you're in. Anything can happen. We've seen wild cards win the cup many times. Like the Kings did it as an 8 seed and a 6 seed.
For a team sitting with $20 million on cap space, I think it should have been. This is what I was going to bring up with Noodles. Was it not worth a stab at something early on? And if it didn't work, then if you can sell the piece or sell different piece at the trade deadline, get rid of it. Like Kuzmenko, you brought him for a year, it wasn't worth. Get rid of him. I don't.
And so the challenge we're faced with is what you always talk about, Boom, which is like we don't know what things cost, we don't know who is actually out there, and we don't know how Craig's decision process, because we don't get to see that. We don't get to see how the hot dogs made. We're not like, hey, they were close to Cousins, but what they wanted, what for him? They wanted Zeri and like, oh, you can't do that. Well, I mean, I don't know what things cost. I just looked at the deadline and everything was way more than last year.
And I can't bear to listen to us talk, but I wonder what we were saying back at game 20.
They'll fall out of it and they're not good enough.
So you can go back and say, well, Conroy, should they have been trading? Would we have crucified them?
Fred at the end of November was saying, go get a guy. But again, I still don't know that you're better than Minnesota or St. Louis.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
I don't know either. They're in so many games. We showed that graphic.
The most time
spent either up a goal, down a goal, or tied.
Yeah. Like
no one more than these guys.
I watched the Blues since, Four Nations, February, whenever, coaching change even. I look at the Wild and I'm like, these teams are so much better than the Flames. And the Wild had to play 2.5 months, 3 months without an MVP candidate. When Kirill Kaprizov got hurt, he was a top 3 or 4 player in the league. And you saw at the moment those two guys get back, they're checking center who can score and they're superstar. And you're like, these guys would slaughter the Flames in a series, never mind a team winning the division. And they'll play Friday, and maybe I'm way off, but I just think be honest with where you are in your life cycle. You've had a lot go right this year, aside from the offense drying up. Like you've got top 5 goaltending in the league. Is that a guarantee every year?
No, but why do you have to treat it like if everything is up in the air all the time? Why do good teams continually play well?
I'm not saying everything's up there all the time. What I'm saying is you're in year 1 of a rebuild. And if your plan was to try to accumulate young pieces and be competitive in a few years,
see, you're having the macro, kind of in the life cycle. You're talking about, well, this year, if you had at game 30, if you had a guy, what would game 75 and 80 look like?
I was happy to sell.
Game 83. Right?
I was also happy to sell everyone.
Yeah.
Like September.
The doing nothing was going to be part of peak pain, and we're getting all of it.
That's what we're getting.
We're getting all of it. You're going to finish right out of the playoffs. You're not going to keep your first round, or you're going to ship it to Montreal. All your most important players are another year further into their 30s next year, minus Coronado and Wolf. And you still don't have game breakers, and you're not in a spot where you can easily draft them. You have to hit a unexpected home run to get a star player where this team's picking this year. Yeah, Pasternak got drafted in 20s. Yeah, you have Wyatt Johnson's here or there. If you look at what an average draft slot provides you, it's not impactful stars. It's like, oh, this guy could be a role player if it pans out.
You've decreased your odds. Yeah. And we're also happy with how they've played, it's quite a weird world.
When you're Connie, this whole conversation we're having is what you're balancing, because he's got the Rhett shoe on one foot where he's like, man, I think we could get in and playoffs would be fun. And no one ever thought there'd be playoffs in the building again. And Murray loves playoff revenue. And God, what a group. No one believed in them. Go get them. And on the other shoe, he's like, in 3 years, there's no way the player I'm adding is going to be worth more than, what I'd like to do with young assets coming into their prime then. Like the assets would be better either spent then, or the pick I'm keeping will be better.
You contradict yourself a little bit, because you're saying that the pick that you're going to give up, that first round, or where they're finishing, isn't going to be that great. Your odds of having a difference maker are low. But
and maybe it's the first round, or maybe it's a young player, maybe it's next year's first, whatever it is. You just have to collect as many young assets as you can.
The other issue I have, and it's not an issue, it's just a thought, is why are they going to be better next year?
I don't know that they will be.
You look at the Sharon Govich, Farabee, Frost, I assume will sign and stay.
You're still continuing. You still look at this team and you look like you're going to.
You're still going to struggle to score goals.
You're going to subtract from it, aren't you?
I know. You're going to get less from
all your 30-year-olds. You're going to get a little bit less.
Coleman had 15 feels like that's maybe going to
if
be
you add
the high
7
water
to Coleman
mark.
and you add 7 to Sharon Govich, but there's numbers and goals that should have been scored, but next year doesn't improve things. And you're saying Parekh comes in, and if Parek's great, that's awesome. But your decor, you're still talking about moving Anderson.
You got to
not
make a decision
Uyghur,
on
but
Anderson this
Anderson
summer. I'd
maybe.
hope. You don't want that to drag into the year.
Right? Like, and all of a sudden, so then you're like, so our decor is actually maybe even as good as last year's.
I think Dustin Wolf is top 3 at 5-on-5 save percentage. If he drops to 7, that's still like, wow, what a stud in this league. What if you don't have your 9 comebacks in the third period?
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of bounces that aren't showing up in the player goal column, but they've been fortunate. They've had a lot of games they had no business winning, like Colorado.
You know what's not
the fourth line come up with 2 goals on a Monday in Colorado when you're getting shellacked. That's not a win you're going to get next year.
What's not happening is what Noodles, when we had him on yesterday, talked about in Buffalo, where maybe now hey, maybe we've got something here. And you go into the next year thinking that you're something you're not. There's not a lot of, Coronado's playing very well. Like who's at a high level right now that you're maybe afraid of putting false hope in?
Is Zary helped you?
Wolf, maybe. Zary, you've barely seen him.
But isn't Zary up?
Meaning
contract-wise here?
Yeah. He's an R this summer.
Like my point being, maybe it's helped you as far as
negotiations. Yeah, it might just lead to a bridge more than anything. Yeah. But Coronado's the guy I'd rather get if I had to pick between Zary and Coronado. It's like lock up Coronado as long as you can. That's
but
the rare skill set.
Score
a goal. Stay healthy.
Conversations and decisions to be made. I don't know that there's anything where we better tap the brakes because maybe this is above what we should expect in terms of performance and production from this guy. I don't think there's anybody
for Coronado.
Anyone.
Coronado is just
going into the offseason
to where he's supposed to.
What do we have for next year? Like they were saying
in
Buffalo. Well, these guys are good. Maybe he is this good. Maybe he is that good, and then they fall flat. I'm not so worried about the team giving a contract or putting faith in anyone here that they can't live up to at this point.
Yeah, all the guys you're worried about are their contract and older. Like it's the first year of Igor's deal. Nazem's going to be 35 next year, not 34. Huberdeau's another year into his 30s. Coleman's another year into his 30s. Uyghur's another year into his 30s. Like, I think a lot of those guys are good players that have helped, but you don't see guys improve in their 30s. Giordano's like the only guy on earth that actually got better as he went into his mid-30s.
And you love, again, it's hard because you love the effort out of this team.
Yeah.
Like, there have not been too many flat games. You've liked the work ethic. It seems like they've enjoyed playing and working their asses off together.
You want the scary analogy?
Year, and we can do this all summer. You look at the lineups and the depth charts. Where do they?
Yeah, there's no kids coming at forward yet.
There's no one
coming. You probably get Parekh on the back end, but you're not adding your Hanzik, Gridden, Basha, Sunievs. They're not there yet. They all need AHL time. They're not there yet. You're still going to struggle to score. Think about Nashville. This will be my last analogy. We can move on. Incredibly hardworking young team that got some excellent goaltending last year. And they get to the summertime and they just barely snuck in and lost to Vancouver in round 1. And they say, you know what? This is a hardworking team. We couldn't score enough. You know what we should do? Let's go spend a ton of money on guys that are established scorers. 40 for Marchessault, 40 for Stamkos. We'll go get Brady Shea to secure the back end. That should be the biggest cautionary tale for this franchise right now, because sometimes simply just adding goals completely doesn't work. Nashville is it.
You know what again, things that
and I'm the one yelling, gotta score. And I was the guy saying, this is not going to work.
Yeah. And they're an overtime goal away from this whole conversation being completely different today.
It's just delayed a couple
days. It's delayed a couple days, but yeah, it's
yeah, but you guys threw in the towel. Jack and I have not thrown in the towel. We are still on Team Huska.
Are you?
And we're ready to go. Frickin' St. Louis, they just have to lose 2. They're right there.
2 of their 2 games.
It could happen.
Sure could.
What if they lose 1?
Let's see what they're playing.
That's 95. Then we have to win them all.
If we had a grid or a graph.
If only we had a grid.
Anything like that.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.com. Appreciate you watching.